So Adam, how fucking rough are you feeling during lockdown?
Mate, there is only so much FIFA you can play. I'm just staring out the window now, just listening to my neighbour playing shit music.
Well, let's talk about Sylvester Stallone instead then. So, during the 1980s, and to a lesser extent the 1990s, Sylvester Stallone was one of the highest paid and best known actors in the entire world. A fact that allowed the actor to make some fairly ridiculous demands from the people who wanted him to star in their movies. For example, a personal driving range. A personal driving range, it should be noted, he'd use in full costume.
So yeah, talk about Sylvester Stallone, you wouldn't think that golf would be his sport.
Not really, no, because the image I'm going to guess most people have of Sylvester Stallone is either, like, this one here, of, Rocky Balboa, or this one here of Rambo. Yeah. Two men you wouldn't really think, all that into golf. But no, oddly enough, Sylvester Stallone does greatly enjoy the game of golf and plays it frequently in his free time, or sometimes, as we're talking about today, while he's making movies.
Lots of people obviously play golf, when they retire or however they want to play it. So how much does Stallone actually, love golf?
Well, I think the easiest way to sum up how much Stallone likes golf is it's one of the few things he's always willing to talk about in an interview. It's noted by people who've interviewed if you want Sylvester Stallone to open up or talk to you or go overtime in an interview, just ask him about his golf game because he fucking loves talking about golf. And it's one of those things, if you ask him about it, it's like, oh yeah, I love golf. He'll talk your ear off about it. And that's similar to the actor Samuel L. Jackson, where he fucking loves golf to the point where he always has it written in his contract I want to play golf.
I mean, I'm quite fortunate to have actually met Stallone, and I wish I'd have known about golf, because all I got was a hello.
If you'd asked him how his short game was, he might have been a bit more excited to talk to you. But I need to know, though, what's it like shaking that man's hand?
It's so thick, mate.
I'm imagining he's just got a giant fucking literal man hand.
It has. It's literally just large hand. But the thing is, he's smaller than me. I'm 6 foot. And that caught me off guard.
But he's so fucking just built, you're not going to mess with him.
Oh, honestly, it's like one of them, low centre of gravity. If he got into a scrap...
He would, he knows how to box almost to a professional fucking level. Have you heard that he pounded his own knuckles flat?
No.
Joe find the meat training scene in Rocky where he's literally beating his meat?
Yeah.
He recorded that 5 hours a day for a week to get all the footage they needed, and he did it for so long that the knuckles on one of his hand are pounded flat.
Jesus.
Yeah. So that man's committed to acting. He also broke his neck in one of the Expendables movies, didn't he? And then continued filming.
He's what's known as a hard bastard.
And then for the latest Rambo movie, even though he's in his 70s, he was still doing a workout regime that would knock most people on their fucking arse.
I mean, it's whenever I think of people of his age who are that well built, it's just, you think of Sylvester Stallone and Vince McMahon. Because Vince McMahon is built. Yeah, and Schwarzenegger, yeah. Vince McMahon should be in the Expendables.
He could have been. If he wasn't too busy being a crazy asshole. But do you know that thing about Arnold Schwarzenegger? It was at an event and someone ran up and drop kicked him.
Yeah.
And he didn't notice it. He thought it was a fan tapping him on the shoulder. It's a full on running drop kick to his back, and he's turned around what are you doing? It's what? He's 70 years old and just tanking a drop kick like an absolute man. What the fuck are you supposed to do about that kind of power? So
what is it about golf then that Stallone particularly likes?
Well, even though he's described it openly as an old man's game, back in the past, so that's more relevant now because he is an old man, albeit an old man that could punch your head clean off. But he says he likes the cerebral nature of golf and that, the finer points of the game when it comes to basically it's man against man. It's pure skill against pure skill, and he's compared it favourably to chess. And as a reminder, we're still talking about the man who, gave this amazing line read. Or alternatively, the image I want you to have in your mind, while you, just chew over the fact that Sylvester Stallone is, waxed poetic about the cerebral nature of golf, this scene of him in Rambo just screaming and firing an M60 with his shirt off. Is that, the most, manly fucking thing ever? Just a guy shooting an M60 from the hip while screaming. So how many of the Rambo films have you seen?
I've seen the first.
Okay, well, if you watch, not the latest one, but the one before that where he's in Burma, they actually do that again, where instead of, using an M60, though, he used a mounted 50 cal on the back of a truck. And that scene will forever stick in my mind, because, up until that point, the film's quite violent, but, there's just, an entire 2-minute long scene of Rambo on the back of this 50 cal, shooting just endless waves of enemies, all of which explode. And it starts with the guy in the front of the truck turning around, seeing Rambo on the gun, getting hit and just detonating. It's like, what? And then you just have like this extended scene of him screaming, firing a gun, and people just detonate around. Like, fucking hell, Rambo, calm down.
I just love it, like, when films do that, where they just get waves of enemies and just one person could just eliminate them.
Oh, man. Okay, in which case, before we move on, what's your favourite example of that from a film?
I'd say Kill Bill with Uma Thurman, when he just got
against the
tons
crazy
of people.
88s.
Yeah.
And when she's just like, she starts breakdancing with dual swords, cutting off limbs.
Yeah.
It's like so fucking harsh.
There's so much blood that the screen just goes red.
Oh, man, that moment's great, but I think mine, it's a film we talked about on the channel before, and it's in Warrior King.
Yeah.
And if people don't know what scene I'm talking about, there is a scene in a film called Warrior King, which I'll spoil the film for you. A man wants his fucking elephant back. And I'll break the scene down. Guy is crying because the elephant's dead. Spoilers. And he's just crying as people repeatedly kick him in the head. And then, like, someone has the great idea to think, well, he's getting kicked in the head and not dying. Let's stab him. So they stab him, and he just looks up and gets angry and proceeds to just break everybody in the world's arms. Like, all he does is break arm after arm. It's so harsh.
I just love the idea of just the poster just saying a guy wants his elephant back, because I would 100% go and watch that film.
I recommend anyone go watch this Warrior King. That film is great. And like, another example, it's from a video game, is in Yakuza 5. Have you played the Yakuza series at all?
I've watched you play Zero. I've not played it.
Okay, yeah, we'll go watch me play Zero on my channel. But like, in Yakuza 5, there's a bit right at the very end of the game where it's like literally 100 men trying to fight the main character, Kiryu. They send 100 men after him. And he obviously, you are the player, so you can beat up the enemy any way you want. But there's a little bit in that scene where every time you kill a certain amount of enemies, like more come in with more weapons. And there's a bit where 2 people shoot missiles at the main character, and he looks at them, stares the missiles down, and casually sidesteps them. And the enemies see that and go, I think we can still take him, though. It's like, no, you can't. What are you doing?
That's the point. When you see that, that is when you go, you know what, this isn't worth the money.
There's no amount of money that's going to make me go fight this guy.
So, like, what is this, like, request, then, that you can just go to a film, like, a producer and just say, I want my own personal driving range?
Well, it's exactly that. Like, Stallone, like, you know, the peak of his career, and I think he still does it to this day. It's like, he always makes requests of, I want a personal driving range on set for me to use whenever the fuck I want. And people are thinking, but where does being dressed as a future cop come into this? Well, you may remember that one of Sylvester Stallone's, like, you know, roles in the 90s was that, I believe it's John Spartan, manliest fucking name ever, in Demolition Man.
Yeah.
And for that film, Stallone again made the request of, I want a personal driving range. And in addition to that, he also made sure they hired a professional golf pro to coach him on the finer points of the game and help him when he needed. And basically, it's noted by that golf pro that Stallone spent more time during the filming of that movie practicing than actual people who play the game professionally.
Jesus.
And keep in mind that for 8 hours a day, he was also supposed to be pretend karate kicking a pre-Blade Wesley Snipes. And it's noted by behind-the-scenes material that Stallone didn't want to take his costume off, because obviously taking his costume off wasted valuable golfing time. So he would go to the driving range dressed like a police officer from the future. And that alone's pretty funny, isn't it?
Yeah, just a bit.
Yeah, do you want me to make it just a little bit funnier?
If you can.
Okay, do you know what the film that Stallone starred in after Demolition Man, the next big film anyway?
No, go on.
It was Judge Dredd.
Oh, God.
And what is Judge Dredd, Adam? He's a police officer from the future. And do you know what Stallone had written into his contract? I want another driving range. And I want another golf pro. No, well, that's the thing, obviously. It's a new film, so he gets a new driving range. But think about the costume for Judge Dredd for a moment. Like, the one from, Demolition Man's pretty funny. The one from Judge Dredd has, the giant eagle pauldrons and stuff like that. And once again, Sylvester Stallone went to the driving range in full fucking costume as Judge Dredd and played golf as Judge Dredd. And it gets even better because, according to Stallone, the costume actually made him better at golf because those giant metal eagle pauldrons that he had to wear, he said they felt like weighted clothing.
Yeah.
So he was training like fucking Piccolo. Like Joe Piccolo's weighted turban. And I'd like to think he also tried to play a few rounds in the fucking helmet as well. Just to really, test his limits. But what I'd like for whoever edits this video to do is just get Sylvester Stallone from Demolition Man and from Judge Dredd, and on each of those just put Piccolo's turban and cape. Fucking hell, but I know it's a stupid fact, but just there's something really amusing to me about the idea of Sylvester Stallone appearing in 2 movies back to back, where he played a future law enforcement officer and playing golf in both costumes. So Adam, this is your first appearance in a video since lockdown began. How's it been treating you?
It's been all right. It's it was kind of sad to leave the pub and stuff like that. But yeah, just
for context, Adam works in a pub. He's just not an alcoholic. If I said that, that'd make more sense. Oh, it's really sad to leave the pub. What a single tear rolls down your cheek. Can't put your shifting and spoons anymore.
I mean, the thing is though, everyone when they get asked, "Do you want to go to the pub?" They're never ever going to say no ever again.
No, okay. It's I know we can't risk it. We don't know the next time the world's just going to collapse and there's going to be no fucking pubs left.
I just proper miss a pint.
Yeah, it's just not the same pouring yourself one at home, is it?
No, it's
I've
sad.
tried it. And you just sit there on your own oh, damn it, man, I'm so bored. What do I do? My life is just, empty. The worst bit for me, though, is that I moved just before this all went off. So I've actually not got enough furniture in my house. I have a sofa and a TV. And it makes it look really depressing because I've just got a sofa and a TV and that's it. So, oh, cool, awesome.
I mean, it's because I've had so much time, you see on Twitter, I've restarted my channel. And I put the first video up yesterday, and the very first comment, but it just made me piss myself. The very first comment was, "Sorry, who are you?"
You should just respond, "I'm Ronnie Pickering, mate."
Ronnie Pickering.
Fucking Ronnie Pickering. Oh, I love that. I'm going to come in as a complete, a nameless comment, who the fuck are you?
Yeah.
It's great.
And when I replied to him saying, "Oh, I was retrospective sports," he was like, "Oh, sorry, hope you're well."
Oh man, this. The thing is though, you've had the same thing of me, and I think Lucas has as well, but he's not on the call at the moment. And you just looked at him and I need to cut my hair. And the annoying thing is I've got to be on camera, twice, 3, 4, 5 times a week for the next month, maybe 2 months. And I have no access to any sort of hairdresser. I'm just going to look more disheveled as these go on. I know I don't look great as it stands, because obviously I usually go to the gym before all these, and I've just got really thick, unmanageable hair. But I'm going to look terrible by the end of these. I've just given up.
Because the issue that we've got is that I've got a trimmer. That's just not working. So Nisha's scissor cut my back and sides, and I'm just at the point now where I think it will just be a shave job. I'm going to go baldy.
I'm so tempted to shave all my hair off again. But I think that's the thing. I think other people watching the channel might have a nervous breakdown if I turned up with no hair. Other people are who the fuck is this? Who's this pretender to the throne?
Oh, please do it.
I can't, man. I can't go back to having a big square head and looking like a Lego now. I'm sorry. I'd rather look like I'm just fucking hungover all the time than that. But yeah, isolation's going great.